Okay, so I'm in my car, so the audio quality is going to be crap. I'm going to try to clean it up as much as possible for this recording. And you can hear my GPS in the background. So I was just listening to NPR, and I like NPR, but even with them, I get exasperated listening to their reports on things sometimes, because it just doesn't quite meet the standard that I think it should be meeting in terms of getting information out and really understanding subjects. And in this case, it was on the subject of climate change, which I know a little something about, and they were talking about this report that's coming out where a scenario was run, and I don't remember any of the names associated with the report or anything like that, so I'm going to be just referring to, pronouns and, general terms like scientists and things like that. Okay, so anyway, this report was about what would happen if we burn through all of the fossil fuels, basically. So I guess they had some sort of estimate of reserves left to burn through, and they ran that scenario, and I think they had us burning through it within the next 100 years or something like that. I think they were using current rates, or some thereabouts. And I believe overall world rates are increasing, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, they use just the current rate. So it assumes something that's probably not going to happen. Either the rate is going to go up or it's going to go down, more than likely. I don't know which of those two is going to happen. It's probably going to go up, and then something's going to happen, and then it will go down. Some cataclysm will occur that will cause it to go down. But the thing that I got exasperated with, so they make the report, and it comes out that the sea levels will rise by like 10 feet within this century, or something like that. I don't remember. It was several feet. Like, I believe it was 10, but I'm not sure. Several feet at any rate. So pretty bad. Okay, so but then it accelerates, and we get 100 feet of sea level rise within the next 1,000 years, just because we burn through all the fossil fuels at the rate that we're burning through them now, which will probably be done in about, well, no doubt within 100 years would be done at the current rate. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure how generous they were with reserves, though. I would have to look at the article, and I may look at the article, I may not even post this. But the thing that I got upset about was they let them say their piece and said, okay, well, this is what's going to happen if we burn through all the fossil fuels. Then they had another guy come on, though. And he was the guy sort of contradicting the reporter, sort of saying that, well, okay, but he basically found it useless because it's an implausible scenario. Well, first of all, it's not useless, even if it is implausible. But secondly, why is it implausible? We're burning through the fossil fuels at an enormous rate right now, and there's no sign that we're going to stop doing that. The population keeps increasing. We have to feed all those people. We're heavily dependent on fossil fuels for our sustenance. Heavily dependent on fossil fuels. What makes this guy think it's so implausible that we're just not going to do that? That's what, and they didn't say why. the question was never posed. Well, why is it, it seems to me, blah, 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 we're burning through all these fossil fuels right now with no end in sight. So why is it implausible that we'll just stop? That question was never posed. Now, you could answer that, maybe. You could say, well, we'll have economic collapse before that happens, or there'll always be some left in the ground, so you can't, that those rates are probably going to decline before we get anywhere near burning all of it. So you could say something like that, but I don't think it's that implausible that we're going to just keep burning through most of it. And the only thing that's going to stop it is either some sort of economic collapse, which is probably going to be brought on by resource struggles, and one of those, and probably the maybe or probably the resource that it will be is in fact oil. Sorry for the audio quality on this. I may decide to post this, I may not, but I just wanted to express my exasperation with the report that I just heard on what I think is a relatively good source of news. NPR, I really like a lot, but yeah, even they screw things up and don't do their due diligence and get the facts. But it's sort of exemplary of just the general view or general approach that journalists take nowadays. They don't try to actually get down to what's going on, because it's automatically assumed that you can't do that, I suppose, because you're going to automatically be accused of bias if you try to nail things down. So most of the time, journalists do not do that, so-called journalists. And they just say, okay, this guy says this and this guy says that, and there we go, there's your report. And that's exactly what just happened. So I think that the report that we're hearing is probably useful, but it probably isn't going to happen. I don't think it's entirely implausible, but it's only not going to happen because of probably climate change in the first place. I mean, climate change will disrupt things before, we'll continue growing the population and therefore needing to burn all the fossil fuels. So, yeah, I mean, I look at it as even more. See, he was trying to say, it just seemed like he was coming from the rosy perspective, but the only way you get to that rosy perspective is by not having a rosy perspective is the only way I can see it. That's why I would have loved for them to answer that question. Okay, so that's all I got. Thanks for listening.